One of the things that I would tell people who are going after a niche is instead of trying to be all things to that niche, start with one thing, like one thing that's a major game changer. The stuff that we're working on with voice AI, because the potential of that, like think about it from a small business standpoint. One of the niches that we work with, they usually don't show up to their studios until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But when are people calling them? Well, they're calling them all day and night. They're calling them when they're not working. Well, the opportunity with voice AI and having voice AI being able to answer all their questions, book trials, now you're able to show them, look, what if I could help you get more business using this one tool? Now I got my foot in the door, and now I'm providing them great value.
Welcome to the Spotlight Session. It's a game-changing interview series that showcases award-winning agency owners to share secrets of starting and scaling a marketing business.
Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of our podcast session here at HighLevel. We call them the Spotlight Sessions, and I have a special guest here today, Mr. Pete Mitchell. Let me share some notes about Pete here. I've got some formal bio here that I'm just going to read out, and we'll get right into it. Pete Mitchell is a co-founder of Source One Software, the marketing and automation engine behind some of the most successful kids programs in the country. His team helps with martial arts schools, dance studios, gymnastics programs, fill their summer camps and after-school programs with ease. Using the full power of HighLevel, Pete and his co-founder Dwayne have built out complete suite of custom websites, automated follow-up campaigns, and ad system that let studios and dojo owners focus on enrolling kids instead of chasing leads. Now, outside of the office, Pete either pushes heavy weight in the gym. His personal best includes a 405-pound bench and 600 plus deadlift, and hitting the targets as a competitive pistol and rifle shooter. Whether it's marketing, lifting, or marksmanship, Pete brings precision, discipline, and serious firepower to everything he does. Pete, thanks for saying yes to us. I'm excited for this podcast.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm really looking forward to it.
So I know we read out the formal bio, but what's the Pete Mitchell story? Give us a rundown of how you got involved in digital marketing, how you got involved in the SaaSpreneurship world. Give us a quick 30-second overview of, how you got up to 2025 today.
Wow, I don't know if I can do it in 30 seconds, but I'll be as quick as I can. So, I grew up in a family that was not entrepreneurial in nature. In fact, I don't think they really understood me, my family growing up, because their idea was, hey, you need to get a good, safe job, work a corporate career, get a good pension, something like that, and retire. In fact, I remember I was in college and I was applying for a parole department job. I can't even remember what it was. I can't remember if it was youth or adults. And I was like going in for my third interview, and I was talking with my father one day, and I was telling him about it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, those are good jobs. I mean, you can make upwards of $50,000 a year." And the second he said that, I knew I wasn't going back in for the next interview because I was like, 50 grand a year? Are you kidding me? Like, I spent all that time in college, and that's what I'm gonna do? Like, forget it. So I went from that to I went into sales, which is ironic because I'm a massive introvert. Like, I do not like to meet people. I don't like going out. I just that's the way that I'm wired. And but I realized, like, for me to get to where it is I wanted to go in life, I had to do things that made me uncomfortable. So I went into sales and I went into financial planning, and that was back in the early 2000s, and then 2008 hit, which wiped out my industry. Like, you literally couldn't even do the stuff that I was doing. And I was like, well, I got to figure something out here. And I loved marketing, but I didn't understand it. So I like dove full into marketing, learning everything I could, learning about direct response, primarily from Dan Kennedy, and reading all Gary Halbert stuff, Joe Polish, all those guys. And in fact, I even did a product launch for Dan Kennedy's Making Them Believe course that he did with Chip Kessler. And I fell in love with it. And I just remember thinking, hey, you know what these guys all need is they need the tech side. Now, I was one of those weird guys that like understood marketing, understood sales, but also could understand the tech side. And that you usually don't find. You don't find people who are really good at tech and really good at understanding how do you communicate, use the tech to communicate effectively with people and close them. And I would. And back then, of course, there was no HighLevel. And I used to have all my clients sign up with Infusionsoft. Now it's called Keep, right? And it was like, and I knew full well, and none of them would be able to do it. But I'm like, look, I need this system in order to do all the automation stuff that you need done. So I would like, you got to get this thing, right? And in fact, I still remember when I finally converted full over to HighLevel and I was canceling, all these Keep accounts with them. And they won't let you just cancel. Like they got to have like an exit interview because they want to save the deal. And the dude's like, dude, you've been with us forever. Why are you leaving? I'm like, well, I'm going over to HighLevel. And he's like, he's trying to like downplay it, right? Oh yeah, I know they got that agency model. We got something like that. And I go, no, you don't. I go, I know your guys' model. Your model is I got to pay you like at the time, I think it was like 2,500 a year for the pleasure of selling their system. And then they were going to give me 40% commission. And I'm like, that's not the same as I get to build out my own agency, build everything out, and I can charge what I want to charge for it. I'm like, that's not the same, dude. Don't confuse the two. And but we made the full conversion over. So
Wow. And if you're watching this, tell us what city and state you're in, and also tell me what platform you came in from. I'm curious to kind of understand how many fellow Keep enthusiasts like Pete was around, and times have changed in my opinion. So for this conversation, I want to kind of get into how you built your business. So, the way we're going to title this episode so we can just kind of stay organized is going from dojos to digital domination, how Pete scaled a high-level agency that runs itself. The three discussion points that we have in mind is picking one niche and going all in. Number two, building a repeatable system, not all one-off projects. And three, shifting from that service provider mindset to SaaSpreneur. So, Pete, picking one niche and going all in, what does that mean?
that's a really good question because it's not the picking of the niche is really important. And let me give you an example. I actually have two agencies with HighLevel. Source One Software is the one that we're talking about. And then I have what I call my practice agency, the one where I really learned how HighLevel works and dug in on it. And on that one, we focused on real estate agents and mortgage agents. And the main reason for that was for about the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, I was the main marketing guru for one of the largest and definitely the most uh, I mean they're the highest level coaching agency for the real estate niche, and I was their marketing guy. I did all of their marketing and I taught all of their agents. So I mean, I've taught hundreds of thousands of agents at this point on how to market their business. And it was always frustrating to me because I'd tell them, this is what you need to do. And of course, no one would actually do it. And part of the reason why no one would actually do it is because it usually required a little bit of technical know-how. And real estate agents, by and large, are great at doing what they do. They're great at selling, they're great at doing the contracts, they're great at that piece. But all of the other stuff, which is what allows them to do that, they're not good at. So all of the tech, all of the like organization, all of that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna finally do that for them. I'm gonna force them to actually do everything the right way because I'm gonna build it out in this agency. And we did. We built it out like 20 something websites is what they would get. They were all like direct response based websites. We did it all in HighLevel. And really that's where I learned the power of the custom values, which is like probably my favorite thing that HighLevel has because we can use those literally everywhere in the system, from the websites to the emails to the workflows themselves. Like as an example, when we run their ads on Facebook, and let's say we're running a conversion ad where we got to use Facebook's pixel, Facebook has a pixel and they have I think it's called a tracking ID or so, I can't remember what, token ID or token access code, something like that. Well, we put all of that stuff in custom values. So I literally only have to change it one place and every workflow gets updated, every website gets updated, everything gets updated. And it's beautiful. But the biggest problem with the real estate market, in my opinion, is it's a solopreneur market. So this is why it comes back to your question of, picking the right niche. That solopreneur market, I always like to tell people who I train on this stuff, look, the problem with that market is they're so busy trying to put food on their table, they're never going to be able to put food on your table. And for them, it's always very easy to see you as an expense as opposed to a real small business. And so I would tell these guys who I'm training, I'm like, look, you want a business that's doing at least $1 million in gross revenue, and they have at least 4 employees outside of family members. Because family is different. Like family will work for you for free. They'll do all kinds of, but like when you are a responsible business owner for other people's lives, you handle things differently. It's a completely different mindset. And so I was looking to break away from all the real estate guys and all the mortgage guys because I was burnt out on it. I was like, look, I've been dragging these guys across the finish line for so long. And I'd known Dwayne Spires, he's my co-founder. I'd known him for like 15 years. In fact, we met at a Dan Kennedy event. He was one of the guest speakers at it. And we just met and we would stay in touch over the years and stuff like that. And one day I saw him like a post in the HighLevel group. Like that was it. You know how like on Facebook, when you know someone and they liked a post, it'll say, "Oh, this was liked by Dwayne Spires." And I was like, "Dude, is Dwayne doing HighLevel?" Because I had literally like he's a big coach in the martial arts arena. In fact, him and his wife Lauren, their company is called Success Team Coaching. Used to be known as MAST, which was Martial Arts Success Team Coaching. Very well known, very well respected, and they do this big annual event. And I was like about ready to get tickets to go to that event so I could learn their system and then I could roll it out to martial arts companies. Because I didn't even know he was thinking about like, hey, we want to add this thing to our portfolio. And so I saw him like that post and I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, Dwayne, man, are you thinking about offering HighLevel to all of your clients? And he's like, yeah, we totally want to go down that route, but we're still trying to like learn the system and all that stuff. And I was like, dude, man, we got to talk because I'm a high-level Jedi. Like there's nothing I can't do in that system. And I was actually going to go to your guys' event because I wanted to learn what you guys do. And I was thinking about putting something together for these guys already. But man, if we could partner together, this would be a match made in heaven. And literally the next week, I meet with him and his wife. We sign the deal and we launched like 2 months later. And and I mean, it was just like everybody in his group was like, yes, we want into this thing. And so our biggest problem was actually onboarding that many people at once. And that came with its own challenges and like learning how to do that properly and things like that. And so now we're actually about ready to start open it back up and bring it on more people. But that niche is so important to like figure out what's the niche you want to go for. And what I always tell people is you want to stay away from the solo employee, right? The solo entrepreneur, because it's just too hard to make money off of that. But you go after real small businesses, contractors. In fact, I tell people anybody that's got anything to do with the housing industry, plumbers, HVAC, all those guys, they have big ticket items. And it is really easy to help those guys make additional sales with all the tools that HighLevel has to offer.
I love that. And I just shared some notes with you, Dwayne, on the Zoom chat. So me and you are pretty organized together on this convo. So Pete, you focus on martial arts, dance, and gymnastics, and also real estate. And it seems like you had a great friend slash business partner that was kind of just in the right place at the right time.
Right.
Now that scenario, while it's amazing, that's not a usual scenario for a lot of people. So like if I'm starting out, Pete, what are the criterias or standards I should think about when it comes to selecting an industry? Like you and I know that it's not the industry because somebody's making money on every industry. It's the entrepreneur that's participating in that industry. And I love that you said $1 million revenue minimum a year is a good start. I love that you said avoid solopreneurs because they typically have operational strain. What are some other standards that you would, thinking back now, say, you know what, that would have saved a lot of time for me?
Well, the key thing for me is what I would say Jay Abraham refers to as relationship capital. Somebody else has to have your ideal client. So if I'm looking at a niche, I don't care if the niche has a great potential in and of itself. I want to know who else has the relationship with that niche that I can pivot with. Now, I happen to know Dwayne, but it wasn't like we were close friends. Like, we'd met and we were Facebook friends, that kind of a thing. And then over the years, maybe 3 times, he'd reached out to me or I'd reached out to him about something marketing related. So it wasn't like there was a close relationship there. In the real estate niche, again, I did the exact same thing. My client was the well-known person in that niche who didn't understand the marketing side, understood the sales side, and she needed someone who could help everybody with the marketing. So there's always someone who's got an in with that niche that you're going after. And it's the same thing with like dentists. I mean, there's plenty of people that have access to that niche. So that's what I'm looking for. Like, who can I use, as Jay Abraham would say, that relationship capital? Who's already got that relationship capital and I can tap in? I can bring some value to them. I can show them why we want to be doing this together. And to me, there's an unlimited opportunity out there. Like anybody could take that idea right there and go, okay, who else in the niches that I want to go after? Like they're making real money. And they would do it. So like as an example, one of my buddies, I did this back in 2016. He's ironically, I've had a podcast for like, I don't know, at this point, 12 years. And so he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. What should I do? And I'm like, dude, you're an auto detailer. Do a detailing podcast. So he starts, at the time, there was no one else doing an auto detailing podcast. He starts the auto detailing podcast. He ends up becoming this huge influencer in there. Like Turtle Wax is paying him 25 grand to show up at their trade show and just like be there to like talk to people. So he and I put together something called the Detailer Inner Circle. He had access to all these detailers because he had a podcast, but he didn't know how to do any of the other stuff. I knew how to do all the other stuff. And so I just tapped in with him and got access to his whole market. So there's always someone who has that access. I mean, I looked at HighLevel probably 3 or 4 times before I finally like went all in. And I remember the first time I looked at it, I was like, oh crap, dude, there's something more I got to learn. Like I need to learn another tech thing. Like I need a hole in the head, right? I'm like, so I remember I didn't, I did like the free trial and I was like, that's it, right? And in fact, it still shows up. Like, how like when you try to log in off the Go HighLevel site, it'll be like, what agency do you want to log into? I'm like, okay, not that. Let's go to the real one. And what finally did it for me was I was on probably some webinar or something like that with Kern, with Frank Kern. And I was like, okay, this AI thing was making sense. Now, this is before HighLevel even had all of the AI. But the
Right.
fact that we could integrate with Chat GPT via Zapier and do it all via text was an absolute game changer. And I was like, okay, there's something here. And now with the whole voice AI and everything else that HighLevel does, I'm like, okay, the world is about to change dramatically, very, very quickly. And the opportunity is now. And it's not like, I mean, there's still gonna be opportunities 6 months from now. Don't get me wrong, but like there's no one doing this stuff. And even people who go, oh, look at everyone in the HighLevel group who's doing it. It doesn't matter, man. There's literally millions of businesses in the United States alone where I'm at who need this type of help. And it's like, okay, who can I just get in with who's already got access to my niche? And I'm going to bring them the solution that they're looking for.
I love that because AI was not even a part of the conversation we were thinking about. But to your point, we're in the early gold rush of what AI is going to become.
Absolutely.
And our goal at HighLevel is to be the forefront players. So it's an option. We just want to at least be in the conversation. Now, Pete, specializing in an industry seems like it builds trust fast and it creates a word of mouth kind of a momentum. Like, I assume you can do more than just one partner. Like, help us understand the power there of
Oh,
niching
yeah,
down like that.
absolutely. I mean, because, and there's a lot of things that we've learned along the way to like really streamline things. Like one of the things that I would tell people who are going after a niche is instead of trying to be all things to that niche, start with one thing, like one thing that's a major game changer. Like to me right now, the stuff that we're working on with voice AI, because the potential of that, like think about it from a small business standpoint. Like we've got one of the niches that we work with, they usually don't show up to their studios until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But when are people calling them? Well, they're calling them all day and night. They're calling them when they're not working. Maybe one of the spouses at home that day, she's calling at 10 a.m., figures are open, they're not there, and it goes through to voicemail. Well, the opportunity with voice AI and having voice AI being able to answer all their questions, book trials, text them. Like, I mean, we're having it text people in our core AI that we're building out. Like the potential of that is immense. But now you're able to show them, look, what if I could help you get more business using this one tool? Now I got my foot in the door. And now I'm providing them great value. And they're not, I mean, most businesses, it's not really like if you're going after the right businesses, it's not about the expense. It's about the problem that you're solving for them. And they will pay for great service that solves a big problem for them. So to me, I'm looking at the voice AI and like the fact that with HighLevel, hey, if someone doesn't answer it by a certain point, then the voice AI kicks on. I'm like, dude, that's perfect. Like most of our industries, the martial arts, the dance, the gymnastics, they're working with kids. Kids are the primary people who are in those things, the dance classes, the gymnastics, the martial arts. But the parent is the one that's paying for it all. And so you've got to think about this like as a parent, if I'm going to send my kid to a martial arts class or a gymnastics class or a dance class, I want to know that my kids are safe. I want to know that these are good people, that they know how to work with kids. Like I want human to human interaction. I don't want AI. But if I can't get the human to human interaction because someone's already on the phone or something like that, then if I have voice AI kick on, I'm looking at this going, okay, what other martial arts school have I talked to that has an AI that I can, like, these must be the ballers. Like, that's what I'm thinking. This has got to be the player right here in the industry. And like, that's the opportunity that these small businesses have. And we just have to show it to them. Like, you can be brand new, just started yesterday and look like you're the best in the industry because you've got voice AI. Like no one else has that. Like you just
Yeah, I
instantly look better.
I've actually never thought about that, Pete. The brand positioning of the way you're fielding the prospects, right? Like the way you're interacting with them. And there's some, like my younger cousins and family members that are in, late teens and early 20s. I notice that they prefer to talk to a non-human sometimes because they don't want to deal they don't have to worry about the emotionality of being rejected. They don't have to worry about saying the wrong thing. They don't have to worry about perception. They don't have to worry about being courteous. Like it's weird, but like sometimes they just rather chat away and just get all the information and just go about their
Right.
business knowing that it's a agentic experience. So like we're seeing two sides of it. To your point, human to human interaction still outweighs everything, from a sales conversation. But we're seeing like this interesting shift. And great point. It's the brand positioning that we're not seeing the extrinsic value that it provides to the business. Now, I assume, Pete, niching or niching, however we want to call it, it simplifies the operation for you. Like your entire business model is in a whole different ballgame, I assume. Help us understand the benefits you're seeing from just focusing on one avatar.
The biggest benefit to having everything dialed in for one type of client is how quickly I can get them from yes to making money. So for us, we have a lot of websites that we put together. Like we do what's called summer camp websites, after school program websites, and then of course they've got their martial art website or dance studio, gymnastics, all this stuff, right? And the problem with most people is, or most businesses, it's like, well, I got to do everything custom. We're like, no, our deal is we only take on one business within a certain radius. So we don't have to worry about, okay, I took on you, and then there's a guy in your same strip mall who does the same thing, but now both of you have the same looking website. No, it doesn't matter if it's the same looking website because there's going to be no one else in your target area that's got that website. So they sign up and then they're immediately taken to a survey, which of course we have that done in HighLevel. And it's asking all of the data that we need. And this is one of the beautiful things about HighLevel is we even have them upload their logo, right? Like, I'm like, this is cool to me that I get to just like, put a button on the survey. Hey, by the way, upload your logo. So that way we've got it and we can slap that on your website. And so once we've got everything from them, that in a workflow sends out to my team that actually puts together their account an email with everything in the order that it appears in the custom values area of their website. So they're literally just cutting and pasting and just like, okay, I'm going to take this, put it over there, this, put it over there, this, put it over there. And that is what allows us to quickly get all of their websites put up. Like, to them, they think it's amazing. They're like, I can't believe it. I signed up this morning and you guys already have all my websites set up. They're all perfect. All my workflows, all my emails, my follow-up campaigns, everything's done and it's all personalized for me. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's because we've got a great team who can cut and paste and stick it in the custom value spot. And then that just populates all throughout your entire account. And so that's a very, very beautiful thing.
I love that. So let's talk about the second pillar of our conversation when it comes to building a business that runs itself. Building repeatable systems, not just one-off projects. So talk to the person that's brand new to the world of marketing in general. Like, what does it mean when someone says, I have to build repeatable systems and not, offer one-off things or custom projects, I assume.
Yeah, so a lot of my life I've done custom projects. And there's pros and cons to everything. The biggest pro is I can usually charge a lot more money for it. The biggest con is, okay, but now I need to go get another client because I already got paid for that one. What am I going to do? So when you've got everything systematized, and like I said, like for us, going after martial arts is the primary dominant type of company that we help. It's very easy for us because we know exactly what they need. We know what they want. We know what their problems are. We know what the parents want. We know what their needs are. So by having that just systematized, like, this is what we solve for you. As a great example, the ads that we run. One of the ways that I'm able to sell it to everybody is I go, look, we're running these ads nationwide. We get to see the data nationwide. We know what's working across the country. We know which images are working because we're running them on all of these different accounts. We know what verbiage is working. We know basically where our lead cost should be as a whole. Now, of course, every area is going to be different in that, but that is a lot easier to sell. And when they come back and they go, oh, well, I want to do, this ad. And I'll go, well, that's not what we do. Like, if that's what you need custom stuff. Look, I'll show you how to use our software and you can run it yourself. But for us to be
Mm.
able to provide this for you at the level we provide it for you at the price point we're at, we use what we know works. And we're not going to like invent something else. We'll just show you, here's how you can do it if you want to go do it yourself. But we're going to stick with what works. And so everyone so far is like, well, that's great because you're getting me what I want, which is leads, and that's what I'm after. So perfect, great, here you go.
What I picked out of that was the pivoting of the offer if they want to run it themselves. We'll come back to that, right? And how there's a SaaSpreneur play there. Um, so every client gets a full setup inside of HighLevel website automation ads. Like, help us understand the package here that you usually provide. Is there consulting there? Is it onboarding? Like, what is the A to Z offer that you typically like?
Yeah, so primarily we've got three main packages that we do. One is just the website package. And that's because there's a lot of players in the martial arts industry that offer websites. And so it's like, okay, great. If that's all you're looking for, we've got it. But again, you got to be in a certain radius. Right now, they have to also be a client of our sister company, the Success Team Coaching Company, because one of the big problems that every SaaSpreneur runs into is they generate leads for their client, and the client goes, well, these leads suck. No, it's not the leads that suck. Most of the time, it's because you guys don't know how to sell. Like, it's just a fact of life. Like, you need to sell, and they're like looking for the lay down lead, right? Everybody wants that. And you're going to run into them every once in a while. But the reality is money is made in the follow up. Like, what's your follow up campaign? And that's one of the reasons why we have all of the what we call our platinum level. So our platinum level is $797 a month. It's all of the ads, all the websites, all the automations. We do 2 posts a day to their social media platform, or actually say to their Facebook account. Of course, they can use the social planner inside a HighLevel and do all the others that they want to do and all that stuff. But what they're really after, what the end user is after, is I don't want to have to think about any of this stuff. Like in our case, most of them are martial artists themselves. And like a real estate agent, right? Who's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna go sell some real estate. Maybe they got pretty good at it. And then they're like, well, I'm gonna be a broker now, and I'm gonna have other agents work for me. Well, that's a completely different skill set. But they, like, those real estate agents run into that same problem when they go from being an agent to being a broker that a martial artist runs into, which was, I was really good at martial arts or jujitsu or whatever it is, and now I'm running a business. And I've got employees, I've got overhead, I've got rent, I've got electric bills, I've got insurance, I've got to deal with my regulatory bodies, all that stuff. Like, it's a completely different thing. So we come into them with the solution of, look, we're going to take all that crap that you don't like, it's off your plate. And it doesn't mean that we have to do a lot. It's, we already did it. We already set it up. We have all the follow-up stuff in place. Like, all they have to do is literally take the leads. And even though we're going to have them emailed and all that stuff, we want them to physically call them. Like, I don't even know if HighLevel is going to the outbound AI stuff, but I don't personally want to use that yet for kids, right? Because again, it's one of those things where, you know, if AI was calling me trying to get my kid, I'd be like, dude, seriously, like, this is my kid we're talking about. But it'll probably end up going that way, like just the way the whole world is going. And but it's just, you gotta think through that stuff. Like, what's the solution that I could provide to them? By taking that off their plate, we're like a breath of fresh air to them. And then the fact that we can actually deliver on it, and they can actually get, you know, all these leads that are coming in. Like, I don't know how many of our sites, I mean, pretty much every account is on the first page of Google for their search. Some of them are on it 2 or 3 times, and it's because we built out the sites so well with what I call in-page SEO, that all that other crap and noise that you hear out there, and, oh, you know, buy these backlinks, we don't have to do any of that. Like, we've already got it. Like, we're already there. And that's what our clients want, right? They just want the leads coming in, and that's what we're providing to them.
I love that. So my gut tells me that didn't happen overnight. The ability for you to go in with all the data, the proof in the pudding, and showcase and provide case studies and help them see what the desired state could be in sales. Like, so proven sales systems and proven marketing systems allow you to deliver results without constant oversight. How did you get to that world? I mean, help us understand.
Well, part of the way that we're able to do that is by the relationship capital that Dwayne and Lauren had with their clients already. Like, people would already go to them. Again, they're on the coaching side, right? So they're coaching these guys, and people would say, hey, you know, I need to run some Facebook ads. So in their system, they've got 60 ways to generate leads, and Facebook ads are one of the 60, right? So it's not like the main pillar or anything like that. But of course, everyone wants to run to, I want to run some ads, because to them it sounds easy. So we already had ads that we knew worked because they'd already been using these things for years. So it was really, we just needed the system that we could implement it and then roll it out for everybody in an automated way where they didn't have to do it themselves. So that was what HighLevel brought to the table for us, was being able to just roll out what we already knew worked. So again, it was, for me at least, I was able to work with these guys who already had it. Now, on the other side, I've been doing marketing for so long that I know what a good ad is going to do. Like I know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So it's not like it's a difficult thing for me on my side. It would be to someone who's brand new to marketing. They'd be like, where do I start? How do I do this stuff? And that's where I would usually tell them, hey, you want to basically read everything you can by Dan Kennedy, right? Just get your hands on that, consume that stuff. I don't know how many of his courses I bought off of eBay, right? Like he had magnetic marketing, like the old versions. And I'd be like, dude, it's 30 bucks. I'm buying it, right? And I just consume it. I was the guy who would actually buy the stuff, read it, and then implement it. And those are usually three different people, right? You got one guy who'll buy it, you got one guy who'll actually read it, and you got one guy who actually does it. And the guys who actually do it are so few and far between, it's not even funny, right? So, but I was the guy who's like, look, if I spent 30 bucks, I better read that thing. And then I better actually go implement this thing because I'd feel bad that I spent the money and didn't do it. And so I would just go out and actually do this stuff. And that was how, I learned how marketing would work and things like that. But then again, like I said, having those people with the relationship capital who already know how to tap in and being able to go to them, like if they don't even understand the marketing side, like my real estate client, she didn't understand the marketing side, but she understood why people were buying or selling. And I was like, look, that's what I need to tap into. Like, what are those problems that people have that they're trying to avoid? Because I can show them in our ads how to avoid those problems or how we're the solution to that problem. And that's really what we're in the business of, is we're the ones that are providing solutions to these people's problems.
I love that. So while we're on the discussion of building repeatable systems, um, how are you looking at AI as part of your tech stack, your operation? And maybe speak to those, folks that are trying to figure out whether they should even jump into high level. Just like you were part of another system, very matured in that world, and you already had so many things in place, and it's probably quite a task to just migrate over. But like, what's your thoughts on AI in general and where you feel like that will fit into the repeatable systems you already have?
Yeah. So for me, there are two main things that I really love about AI. And it depends on how you need to use it for the niche that you're working with. So again, trying to solve a problem that someone has. Most businesses that are, I shouldn't say most, but there's lots of different types of businesses, but businesses that buy leads or run ads, they have a problem, right? Their problem is they're looking for clients. They need more business. They need to bring more people through the door. So one of the things that I absolutely love, I'm the oddball that loves this. I love it when the freaking yellow pages get dropped off at my door, and it still gets dropped off at my door. Because I look at that thing and I'm like, dude, this is a gold mine for me. Because I know that everyone in here that's got a full page ad, I know three things about them. I know they're looking for more clients. I know they're spend money to get clients, and I know they're not getting a single client out of this thing, right? Because no one reads the yellow pages. So I'm like, dude, I freaking love this thing. Like those are hot prospects for me to go after because they've got money, they're spending it, and they're not getting what they want, at least not in that avenue, right? I don't even remember how I got going down that line for this, but just uh, understanding like what's the solution that I got to provide to these people, and then putting that stuff together for them is kind of the whole key to this thing. And learning like how do I provide that solution, the marketing, because you're right, going from like Infusionsoft, which is what I was on, to HighLevel is a huge learning curve, but the AI aspect, or this is what it was. You were asking specifically about the AI. The thing that I love about AI for these guys is I can have the AI book the appointment. And like that's the really key thing is having that AI reach out to clients. I always call it a supplemental. So like I was talking earlier this week with a mortgage guy, and I usually don't bring on those guys. I turned it over to my assistant. I'm like, look, you handle this whole agency and all this business, but it's coming into me through, doesn't really matter, but it's coming into me because I know somebody else, right? It's the whole referral thing that happens. And I'm like, look, here's the key. We're going to generate leads for you. You're going to get those leads. You have to call them. Don't rely entirely on the AI. Now, we're still going to have the AI, and the AI is going to be trying to book the appointment with them. And if it does, great. Now the appointment's been booked. You got to still show up. You still got to sell them. You got to do what you got to do. But we want them to actually call these leads and things like that. So we do a lot of that with the texting, and it'll be the text conversation back and forth, and just the fact that the AI can understand. Like I mean, I grew up watching Star Trek and Star Wars and all that type of stuff, right? Like I'm the sci-fi guy. And to me, to be able to like talk to Chat GPT as an example, and the fact that it can understand me just boggles my mind, right? Because I grew up before Windows. Like you had the DOS prompt, and if you didn't type the stinking command in there perfectly, it didn't work. And now we've
Yeah.
reached the point where I can misspell everything, broken English, and it can understand. Like at one point, I was training some guys on how to use the AI in HighLevel, and this one guy is from Brazil. I go, hey man, start talking to the AI in Portuguese, and he does, and it freaking picks up perfectly, and it's talking back in Portuguese. And I'm like, I don't speak it. So I'm like, is it right? And he's like, yeah, this is perfect. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
insane. Like, that's the world that we're in. It's insane to me.
Yeah, we have some internal team members that are testing out agentic experiences, and one of the systems started flirting with them. The other one is like very competitive, like an athletic feel, and we're seeing like different personalities for these things just kind of brew up over time, and it's like I just think back to. Like, I think it was 2 years ago, I was visiting some family in Dallas and we were having our evening, family prayer and stuff like that, and young kids there. And one of the young girls, she was like maybe 5 years old. And, my cousin, who's her dad, they're trying to teach her how to pray and stuff like that, Christian conservative families. Anyways, she's praying through this whole thing and she goes, um, and she like literally says a sentence that just shook us, which was like, Lord, I pray for Alexa. And Alexa was a person for her in her mind. And Alexa was
Wow.
just a machine. And we all just looked at each other. We're like, we don't know what to think. That was wild
That's
because
crazy, man. Where's
so
the world
so
going?
yeah, so young generations, you're seeing like different types of you see different imaginations and emotions, and something tells me this will have effects on sales and marketing at some point. So I think part of it is an exciting component, the other part is scary, and I'm somewhere in between, right? Is that, maybe you feel the same.
Oh, I do. Because I'm looking at it going, I don't know what the future holds, but right now I'm going to take advantage of what we can take advantage of. And so, yeah, like when we're messing around with the AI, like we're turning down its ability to like do crazy stuff like that, right? Where it's like coming up with whatever. Like most of the time, I want it to tell specific answers. So, like on our real estate AI, I'll be like, in the prompt, I tell it, hey, if someone asks you a question, you're just going to say, that's a great question. You need to ask so and so when you have your appointment. Because I don't really want the AI answering questions, especially in real estate and mortgage, because now we got legal issues coming into play. We got all this other stuff. Like, I mean, there's so much that we got to worry about. But if it's just trying to book the appointment, I'm cool with that. Like, just
Yeah,
book the appointment with someone. Like, let the
yeah,
salesman take over. Eventually, AI is going to be scary, good, and accurate.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't know, man. That's going to be
yeah. I
weird.
think I think when there's uncertainty in the market, regardless of what it is, there's an opportunity that someone could take advantage of. And I think it's a healthy opportunity here to make life easier for us. As scary as the possibilities are, I think there's healthy opportunities. So, Pete, let's talk about the third discussion we had planned around how to build a business that's running on itself. Um, Shifting from that service provider mentality to SaaSpreneur. So I know A lot of marketing agencies and consultants, they get in this fulfillment rat race. And then you have like guys like Frank Kern who's doing like AI SaaS, that like what is the world shifting into? What have you done to adopt into it? Help us understand what does that mean from SaaS, service provider to SaaSpreneur.
Well, there's pros and cons, like I said, to both, right? Like a service provider, I can usually charge more money, but then I got to go out and find another client the next day. The thing that I've always chased after was I wanted the monthly reoccurring revenue. And like even back when I would sell training courses and stuff. In fact, I had this one course that if it was a single pay, it was 5 grand. And if you did the payment option, it was 1,500 up front and 500 a month for the next 11 months. So it ended up being like 6,500. And in that situation, I knew everybody was going to take the monthly payment option. Like I was just like, everyone's going to take that. And maybe two people took like the single pay. But that was what I wanted them to take is I wanted the $500 a month monthly reoccurring revenue because I hate having to wonder where my next meal is going to come from. Like I want to know that I've got money coming in every month. At the first of every month, okay, this is how much money I got coming in this month. Great. Now, can I increase that? Can I bring on more clients? Are we ready to bring on more clients? Things like that. Like that's the freedom that it brings to you. And at this point, because we're basically a year in from when we launched Source One software, in fact, we launched it probably almost a year ago today, now that we're recording this. And we've got it so dialed in that like the amount of work that I have to do per day is shockingly little. Like I basically am just answering text questions from members who are like, "Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that?" And I mean, what are we talking? Maybe 15 minutes a day. I'll like, here, screenshot our video, send it to them. Here you go. Here's how you do that. And could I outsource that to someone else? Absolutely, I could. I could totally take off everything from my plate and know that I've got money coming in every month. That's what a SaaSpreneur has that the service provider doesn't have that time freedom and doesn't have that income safety, if you will, of knowing I've got this money coming in and I don't need to worry about anything. So to me, like it's the way to go is just have that monthly reoccurring revenue coming in.
What's interesting for me was early stages of this movement of SaaSpreneurship. It was totally accidental for us. It was not a business model that we were like, oh, let's go build this out. We just saw agencies go into our 297 account and they were just reselling sub accounts at scale, hundreds and hundreds of sub accounts on its own. And while we were like, man, how are these specific agencies reeling in these low ticket while some agencies are just simply struggling? Like we saw two different sides of the coin early on with our data movements and things like that, which is the genesis of the whole SaaSpreneur play, the plans, debranding of HighLevel where you can throw your own logo in there. But the most important thing was the quality of life that we noticed with the SaaSpreneurs. Like they were able to, you just simply see them on Instagram vacationing a lot more than the actual agency owners. And early on, these agency owners would start selling SaaS to the prospects that didn't convert to their normal offers. It would just be a downsell. Oh, you don't want to pay for my $5,000 marketing solutions? Hey, I have this $200 self-navigational do-it-yourself model. And over time, that became the thing that paid the bills. That became the thing that kept the volatility low of the agency. And some even gets to a point where they're taking that income and running ads with it for the
Right.
actual agency. Are those things that you went through as well? Like, do you see stuff like that in the community?
Well, I'm 100% sure that stuff is there for sure, but no, we don't do that. We never went down that. There was never a downsell. Hey, we're going to offer them this if they don't take our service provider gig, if you will. And again, part of that is because of my concept of, look, I'm going to go to people who have already a market and I can sell them the end product. Like on the real estate side, they have a couple 100,000 people. And in fact, I helped them grow their database. I kid you not. She had a 300 email list, 300 person email list, and we've grown it up to a few 100,000. And of course, I got to be the marketing guy, right? So the key was like she was well known in the industry, but didn't know anything about marketing. Man, finding those people, tapping into them, and you can find them on podcasts, you can find them as authors. Like there are people everywhere who have access to the market you want to get into. But I have no desire at all. I don't care how much you want to pay me. I have no desire at all to sit down and do one product, even if it's a high ticket, 25 grand, 50 grand, whatever, because then what do I do after that? Like it's not enough to make a big chunk of money right now. I want to know that I've got money coming in month after month going forward. Like that's what gives me freedom. I mean, there's a meme out there that says something along the lines of your company's paycheck is their subscription of your services every month, right? Like it's the Netflix model, the gym model, right? I want to have money coming in every month, and we don't realize that that's what basically a company is doing when they give us a salary. It's their subscription of our services. And there's a benefit to that. The benefit is, oh, I know I've got money coming in. The downside is I could get fired at any moment. When you have a SaaSpreneur business with a lot of different clients, will some leave? Absolutely. Will they all leave at once? Probably not. Like it could happen. Depends on the industry you're in. Like, I mean, if you were all in mortgage and real estate, and right now those guys are hurting because of what's happening in the market to them, you might have a big chunk go off. But again, that's why you got to look at the niche that you want to go after and things like that. But there's a lot to just having um, a really solid niche and then a really solid offer and just knowing I've got that money coming in every month. I don't have to sweat things. Like, how can I make sure my customers are getting the most they can get out of this? I was watching a reel, in fact, yesterday. This guy was talking about Chewy's, the dog food and the dog company, the online dog company. And I don't know much about Chewy's myself, but I'm a big dog fan. Like, I got dogs and love it, right? And apparently, the way it works with Chewy's is you have a monthly subscription, let's say of your dog food, and you get that every month on the first of the month. Well, when your dog dies, you don't think about calling up and canceling your dog food subscription. So, it comes in, you get it, and then you call up and you cancel. And as soon as they find out that your dog died, they go, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and refund you that last bag of dog food. Go ahead and give it away to someone else. We actually can't take it back because of health reasons." And then what they do is 2 days later, they send them flowers with a little note. "Sorry about your loss." Now, think about that from the consumer standpoint. Like, dogs are a part of the family for most of us who have dogs. And then a business does that, their drop off rate of clients does not happen after they do that. Because what happens with a dog owner when a dog dies? We go get another dog. Like we're dog people. That's what we are. And now
Yep.
they're never going to leave Chewy. So that 25 bucks that it cost them, they just ensured they have a lifetime client, which means money coming in every month. And that's what you want. So when you have that money coming in, it gives you the freedom to find these areas that I can really make an impact in someone's life where they're like, I can never leave Pete Mitchell. I can never leave Source One. Like they're giving us what we need. I have to stick with them. And that's what you want to
I
do in your business.
I love that because there is, revenue churn and there's client churn. They're two different things, right? And what you just described is how they dodge the revenue churn.
Right.
And it's incredible because most companies they have to get to a certain maturity level to understand steps that they can do to get there. Pete, can you talk to, I'm going to throw a scenario at you as we kind of close out, and you tell me how you would navigate. I'm a traditional marketing agency owner that did not niche down. I work with everybody and everybody. I make about $3,000 a month on every single marketing service. Why should I do the SaaS thing for $500 a month and say no to all the revenue and do just like this whole predictable, fast, McDonald's kind of a model? Like, where do I even start? How do I turn my services into a SaaS solution? Like, help me.
So one of the first things I would say is there's nothing that says you have to sell low ticket in SaaS. Like there just isn't. Again, you have to think about your market. What's the problem that you're solving for them? And what's the revenue that they're making? So a great example of this is HVAC. Now, I don't personally go after HVAC, though it's probably an area that we are going to go after once we're fully secure with where we're at right now. Then we'll start breaking off into some of these other niches. But HVAC, like as an example, I had my heater replaced. I don't know, now it's been too long, probably like 8 years ago. And, it was a $2,000 item. Well, for an HVAC guy, I don't know what they make on that, but it's pretty healthy, right? They're going to make enough off of that where if I can help them get 2 or 3 of those clients, that's a big deal to their business. Like an extra 6 to 8 grand a month, they're happy. Now, if I have someone who's selling a widget and the widget cost $5, for me to help them make an extra 6 to 8 grand, that means I have to help them sell a crap ton more widgets. Like that's a lot harder thing to do. So first of all, I got to look at what's the niche. So in the scenario where you got somebody who's catering to all these different companies, okay, which one do you like the best? Like which one do you have the best rapport with? You see the best opportunity with? And like what's the real package that you can offer to them? So like we have a $1,000 program, which is the one that we launched when we launched it at our event. We launched it, I want to say it was 11 grand if you paid in full, which we had like 7 people pay in full, and then it was $1,000 a month if you just wanted to do the monthly option. And I mean, that was like our flagship product when we launched the whole thing. That's not the same as someone who's launching $100 or $300 a month. In fact, I make a joke all the time with my detailers because they're using my other agency and we do a monthly training call. And I go, you guys don't understand like what I charge you guys $100 a month for, because that's top of the market when we're talking about auto detailers. I go, I charge these other guys $800 to $1,000 a month for the exact same system. Like there's no difference. It's just theirs is built out completely for them. And then the detailing one is built out completely for you guys. But like, I don't have to take low ticket. Like I can still, because the value that I bring these guys is worth that. Like I become a non-item to them. They're not looking at that going, oh, I'm spending $1,000 a month. I got to figure out how do I cut that down because of the value that I bring. I'm bringing them tens of thousands of dollars in new clients every single month. So the 1,000 they spend on me, that's nothing. Like who cares? Like how many times can I spend that is what I'd be thinking if I were them, right? Like how many more times can I spend that money to bring in another $20,000-$30,000 in revenue this month? And so I would just say you don't have to do that. Like you don't have to think about selling something small. Like you look at Kern's Oh Joy, right? He's selling that for like $49 a month. That's a really low ticket for Kern. Like the fact that Kern can do it because he's got hundreds of thousands of people, that's one thing. But if I had to start all over, I'm not going after detailers again. I can tell you that, right? It's too low of a ticket. I want to go after people that I can actually make real money off of. Like how quickly can I get to 15 to 20 grand a month in personal revenue? That's what I'm looking at. Now, if it's going to take me 3 months to get there, but now I know I got 15 to 20 grand a month coming in every month, great. I'm there. I'm all for it. But if I gotta, I'm looking at this going, hey, I'm selling $100 widget, and that means I mean, I don't even know what the numbers are on that to reach 20 grand a month. I'm not that good at math, right? But it's too much work. Like I don't want to do that much work. Having, I think, fewer clients who are paying more is a much easier model. You don't have to deal with as many people. You're dealing with people who are much easier to work with. Like people who spend more money are much easier to work with than the guy who's like barely spending any money. Like I see that in the HighLevel group, right? Like someone's like, hey, I bought the $100 a month program and I'm having all these problems. Like, dude, I don't want to work with that guy. Like that does not appeal to me at all. You see people who are selling like, they might take the social planner. I don't know if they're selling just the social planner, but oh, we'll give you a lifetime for X, Y. Dude, I don't want that client. Like that is not what I'm after. Can you make a business from that? Absolutely. And people are doing it. It's not the business that I want. Like I want real money from real clients and I don't want a lot of them. I just want enough that I'm like, look, we're making great money. And next we'll think about like, how much more do we want to expand this? Do we want to bring on more people? because I don't want to work. Like everyone who knows me knows my favorite thing to say is I want to make as much money as possible while working as little as possible at the exact same time. Like that's what I'm after.
I love it. Well, Pete, I want to say congrats to you as one of the recipients of the SaaSPRENEUR Gold Award from what I know, and more to come, right? So
Absolutely.
looking forward to seeing you at the conference if possible. Some final thoughts that you would share to the folks that listen into this episode today. We really went all in on helping them understand how you scaled your high level agency that kind of runs on its own. First thing we talked about picking a niche and going all in. The second thing we talked about was building repeatable systems, not one-off projects. And the third thing we talked about is shifting from that service provider mindset to the SaaSpreneur component. Bring us in. Final thoughts.
Life is scary. You just got to do it. One of my best friends lives in Florida. He worked for a marketing agency and he was too afraid to like start his own thing and do it. He's like, yeah, but I got a wife, I got kids, I got a mortgage. I'm like, I get it. I understand it. I've been there myself. And then when he went all in, which was actually, I think he got fired or something. I think that's what caused him to go all in, right? The forced, he like makes he's making like 50 grand a month and it's been like 6 months since he got fired. And I'm like, see, dude, all you had to do was like take the step, but then follow it up with the action. If you go all in, put in the action, and you can reach those results. You just have to actually do it. And it's going to be just do it anyway.
I love it. Well, with that, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching another episode of our podcast here at High Level called the Spotlight Sessions. Bye for now.
Thank you.